the teachers' workday for the boys today. So all the teachers have to go to Coconut Creek. So my son Ellie teaches till 1 o'clock. So today he had to stay all day. So I went to school to get his kids. Take them home by me and things. Let me tell you, I don't know how the women do it. It's easier to go to work.
I agree.
Oh my gosh.
I agree.
My wife would have been nursing the baby if it was ours, young. She nurses the baby, she was stirring something, talking to her sister. I couldn't get anything done. Baby was crying. The older boy got into everything.
I hear you loud and clear. Okay, so we're starting the review. On Hilchos Muktzah.
How are you, Rabbi?
How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Very good. Okay, so sent out a review sheet. Now, the purpose of the review sheet is to help you with reviewing.
Last week?
No, I sent it out earlier today. Now, this review sheet cannot be used on its own because it's just an outline. It doesn't tell you the halacha, it just gives you the points. And the actual review you should do with the Alter of Shulchan Aruch and the Machaber and whatever other swarm you have and you've been using and so on and so forth. I want to try to go through as much of it as I can, but maybe we'll jump around a little bit. Maybe we'll not get through it all, and so on. We'll just do the best we can. Okay. So we started discussing the reasons for Muktzah. Reason number one is that if people would be allowed to move items around on Shabbos, they might spend the whole day rearranging their furniture and their stuff and so on and so forth. And then they will not have fulfilled what the Torah says, which is Shavuos, which is that Shabbos is supposed to be a day of rest. That's number one. Number two is for people who do not work. Since they don't work anyway, the Chachamim wanted them to also have something noticeably different about Shabbos. So that's what they made Muktzah, which is noticeably different in so many ways, so many things you cannot do. Number three, now this is from the Ravid, which is that they wanted to minimize the possibility that people would carry on Shabbos. So they wanted to, by minimizing the number of things you could move, they minimize the things you could carry outside. Of course, you could say, well, they should make it also to carry anything even inside. That's not practical. But things that you can't use anyway, have no use or forbidden use or whatever, but there they were strict. But ultimately, it was to get things out of your hands. And that's an opinion that the Rambam says, which we never quoted. Alter Rebbe doesn't quote it. But the Rambam does say, and this is the most famous reason for Muktzah, if you ask the average person, they'll tell you the reason for Muktzah is you can't move a pen because you might write with a pen. So, right? The reason why that reason is not so easy to understand is because based on that reason, a klisha malachta le'isser should be just as forbidden as a muktzah machnas kiss. I'm saying whether it's expensive or not expensive, the point is that it's a forbidden use object. And here we see on the contrary that if it's a forbidden use object, but it's not expensive, you can move it basically. Only thing you can't move it for is to save it from being ruined. But if it's in the way or whatever, you're allowed to move it. So not so easy to understand that. Okay. We also mentioned that at the time of Nehemiah, when he came back there to Israel with a big group, and discovered that the locals were not keeping Shabbos properly. They were crushing the grapes on Shabbos. They were bringing the stuff to sell on Shabbos. They had a marketplace open on Shabbos. Terrible stuff. So he made a bunch of decrees and a bunch of things and tried to stop that whole trend. And one of the things was that he said Muktzah is forbidden. And once again, to protect against carrying, people were carrying in and out of the city. So originally he made everything Muktzah. It should be besides the very essential things we do for Shabbos, which is like food and salt. And he relaxed it a little bit, relaxed a little bit more, relaxed a little bit more, and ultimately he said you can move things that are permissible use kelim. You can move even things that are permissible use kelim for another use than the main use, that's permissible use. And then you can move even a forbidden use kelim if it's in its place or if you need to use it. So what was left usher was the ability to move permissible use kelim for no purpose at all. Still not allowed to do that. We're doing Chazor from the beginning. Shinches. No, just outside. I sent that sheet. So, why? Oh, this is just Muktzah. I just listed Muktzah. Only Muktzah. Okay. So, we also mentioned, this is not an outlandish one, but we also mentioned that there is a machlokes in the Gemara between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon about Muktzah in general. And Rabbi Yehuda expands Muktzah very much, and Rabbi Shimon limits it very much. And we said that we paskin like Rabbi Shimon, but that concerning Muktzah, the Machaber paskins like Rabbi Yehuda. So practically speaking, a item that has been set aside from use, but is not forbidden to use, you're just not planning to use it. Like something that you're planning to sell, or something you're planning to store, and so on and so forth. But you could change your mind. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing, it hasn't been ruined in any sense. So that's one of the examples of Rabbi Yehuda holding it is Muktzah, Shimon holding it's not. Noiled is another example. Rabbi Yehuda holds Noiled is Muktzah if it changes in such a way that it's no longer usable in the original way, it's only usable in a different way. Again, Rabbi Yehuda holds it's Muktzah, and Rabbi Shimon says no. Sorry?
Yes, thank you. What?
No, he's talking to him. What do you say? The example for Noiled, which we hold is not Muktzah, is something that broke and can still be used, but not in the same way, in a different way than was the original use. Like we said, a keli that broke, and you can use it to cover another keli, right? But not to be makabel anymore. You can't use it to hold something anymore. So that's an example of a Noiled that we hold is not Muktzah. Rabbi Yehuda holds it is, and in Yom Tov, actually in our most strict about Noiled. According to the Machaber and Hilchos Yom Tov, yes. On Shabbos. So Muktzah Machmas Asaron Kes, Rabbi Shimon agrees. So there, even though we do paskin that it's Muktzah, but it's not because we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Shimon agrees with that too. I believe that the case of Gregorius with Simukim, I'm not mistaken, the case of Gregorius with Simukim is the one thing that we don't pass like a Pshir by. I'm not mistaken, that's the one thing. That he would not hold a Muktzah there, and we do. I don't know why. But I believe that's the one case. Okay. So, number 4. Out there. Same Simanim in the Machamer, but not the Seif. Yeah, not the Seif. Simanim is not Seif. Okay, so I sent out a list, number 4, of the forbidden types of Muktzah. If I forgot anything, tell me now, so we can add it. Muktzah, Machmas, Chasar, and Kiss. Yes, everyone knows what that is, yeah? Not there? Is it not there?
A, B, C, D, E, F, 6.
Let's see. Muktzah, Machmas, Chasar, and Kiss. Muktzah, Machmas, Lissa. Tetra, Muktzah. Basis, Muktzah, Gomer. Bishop, Lissa. Yeah, I did not write Muktzah, Machmas. Very good, let's add that now. If you have a machine that can add. Muktzah, Machmas, Mitzvah.
Rabbi, I thought there was 20 types of CA.
Nice.
Is there another?
On the Muktzah, Gomer? Where? What number?
Under Muktzah, I don't see them.
Oh, you're right. I didn't, unfortunately, it's not listed as a letter. Yeah, you have to fix that. You have to fix it. Yeah, sorry. I didn't learn that the first language. Who's the first language? Okay, it sounds very interesting. I'm interested to read it, but I don't know what it is.
And we don't, I thought you saw them.
I mean, there could be subcategories of these, but I don't know. Okay, so let's go over them briefly. Going back to Muktzah, Machmas, Chasar, and Kiss. In 310, we also mentioned that there is something that is not Mamish Muktzah, Machmas, Chasar, and Kiss, but it's similar to it, and we had a Machloikis about it. And that is something that it's not so expensive, but it's used to hold something expensive. And as a result of that, it's usually kept in one specific place. Like a wallet, we said, usually has money, careful about it. You make sure to keep it in a certain place, maybe a certain pocket or a certain drawer, it's on the pocket. You always know where it is. So there's an opinion that says that that is included in Muktzah, Machmas, Chasar, and Kiss, even if it has nothing in it. And others say no. And in practice, we said it's better to be strict. An empty wallet, correct? Completely empty. Why? Because it's usually kept in a certain place. No, it is a collision like this, but because it's usually kept in a certain place, you always want to keep track of it. So that means a person, doesn't want it to be used for other things. No, it could be people are not makbid, but a person who's always careful. He knows exactly where it is. It's not always in the same place, but he has a certain few places where he keeps it, and he always keeps track of where it is. Right. Even so, no, it's not. It's not broken. If it's broken, it's broken. It's not broken. Okay. Nevertheless, because it usually has a certain location, so a person doesn't use such an item for other things.
What about when it's empty? For example, I had a wallet many years, and then I bought this.
No more wallet? You're cashless?
No, I'm just combining it with his phone.
I see. Nice. Nice.
So I'm saying my wallet's empty.
Yeah, once you stop using it in that way, it's for sure not an issue. The question is if you go back and forth, that's the question. See if I get clarity now forever. Let's see, it's tonight. Actually, here he doesn't discuss a wallet per se. He just, I use that example, but he uses a mita that is meyuchot for mois. A mita in those days could be like a chair, a sofa, whatever. Some kind of surface, some kind of place that he keeps his money. So because he keeps his money there, he always knows where that mita is. He always keeps it in a certain place. And that brings it into the category of Muktzah, even if it has no money on it. No, a usual mita is able to be moved. A regular mita is considered something you can move. Yeah, in those days a mita was like a chair, you understand? They didn't sleep on them, they ate on them. No. No, that's not the point. The point is it has a specific place that you don't want to lose it, and you're careful not to move it out of its place. The fact that it's in your wallet moving around. No, of course, if it has money on it, Chiddush is in it. It doesn't have money. If it has money on it, there's no point.
What's the question? I couldn't hear.
If it has money on it, it's for sure a bus. That's not a machlokes. Machlokes is if it doesn't have money. It's not a bus. Maybe in the category of Muktzah. Maybe it's machlokes. If it has the thing on it. Yeah.
You're only using it for the camera. Now, if you don't have the camera,
No, it's not going to be a bus.
So we said it's part of it.
No, it's not part of it. When it's on it, then it's a bus. Not when it's not on.
Rabbi, I have a question.
What do I do?
It's the same as you're using the wallet. I'm not using it on another.
No. He doesn't say that it's muktzah because it's a bus. He says a muktzah because you're kaveh lemar, because you keep it always in one place. So that it basically makes it that you don't use it for anything. The whole point of a kli shalach le'isr not being muktzah and a muktzah is being muktzah, they're both forbidden use objects. But one of them you use for other things sometimes. One of them you don't because it's expensive. So this opinion almost, even though it's not expensive, but because it's always kept in one place. So basically you don't end up moving it around and you don't end up using it for other things. Yeah.
So the same thing with the doing for the camel. I'm not using it for anything else besides the camel. So right now I don't have the camel on it.
No, the that's not correct, because the point is that because you don't move it around, that's why it's considered you don't use it for anything else. But it's something that is meyuchad for Muktzah item, but you are not kavel in makom, you might decide to move it to use it for something else. That's the whole point of.
I don't know why it's not the same.
Because they're not. Because they're not. Because you're being machadish a new getter of Muktzah. That's your opinion. That's not what Shulchan Aruch says. Shulchan Aruch says, if you're miyachad like mokim, if you don't move it around, then it's Muktzah. Not because it's dedicated to be used for something else. Doesn't say that.
Well, this chair that we talked about, let's say now it doesn't have on. I'm not allowed to move it. I'm allowed to use it and put other stuff on it. Or to sit on it or use it for something.
Yeah, like anything else. Like anything else, Muktzah, you can move secondary.
No, because that's what I'm saying. Why don't we allowed to use it?
Well, which Muktzah? Put something on it? Sit on it? I don't know of anything else you can. I don't know. Yeah.
In the case, I don't know, you're saying that, in the case, let's say I have a table, let's just say some type of little table, and it doesn't need to be furniture, that thing, that would be the things that I want in my house. That be, if I don't have the candles, they would still be what's
See, here's the thing. A piece of furniture that you keep in one place and don't move is not Muktzah. As a rule. As a rule. Just because something stays in one place doesn't mean that's Muktzah. We have a lot of furniture that stays in one place. It's because it's staying in one place as a result of the fact that it has something important on it, some expensive item on it. That's one second. That's why you don't move it around. Because you don't want to lose track of it. No, in general, not just on Shabbos. In general. No, not just on Shabbos. In general. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't move it during the week, it's probably just because it's a piece of furniture that you don't move. Like you don't move a lot of furniture. You're not moving it.
Let's say, for example, I have what are those things called caddies?
Yeah.
You can put your shirt on, you can put your wallet on, and the thing is that the fence, so if I put every night I put my wallet, my keys, and my phone on the thing. And it's there. It stays there. On Shabbos, if I don't have anything on it, I wouldn't be able to put it.
Why not?
Because that's what
And does that make it a Prius Muffin? I'm saying, do you always leave it there because you have your stuff in it? Is that?
Why would I read the example or what's the?
The point is, you're not moving it because that's where your money is kept, and you want to keep track of your money. You don't want it to be sometimes here, sometimes there. You want it to be in a set place.
I don't move a caddy.
I'm just saying, if the reason you don't move it is because it has those Muktzah items, you want them to be always in one place, then yes.
That's why I have a room. I'm not going to put another room. That's stuff. That's why I'm moving out of the room.
It has your stuff in it. It also has your shirt on it. It also has your pants. I don't know what a caddy is exactly. I don't know exactly what it is, but the point is, it's because it has something expensive on it, which is a Muktzah item, and you don't want to lose track of that Muktzah item. Therefore, it has a previous Muktzah. That's what we're talking about.
Moving it where? I wouldn't move it where?
Around the house.
Okay, I wouldn't move that thing around the house.
Okay, if the reason, not just your stuff, if the reason you're not moving it is because it has an expensive Muktzah item, not just your stuff. I'm saying.
I would put the shirt and the pants here.
Okay, if that's the reason, then that's exactly what we're talking about.
Rabbi, I have a question. If you forget your laptop on the dining table, and you just forget to move it before Shabbos, I mean, is it still considered a buses? I mean, even though there's no chazaka when it comes to, being there the whole time.
Abasus does not apply when you forgot.
It doesn't, yeah, exactly.
Abasus has to be done on purpose. At the same time, you're going to have trouble moving that computer. How are you going to move it?
Yad.
Achayad, I mean, I guess. You don't want to drop it.
You don't want to drop it.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, depending on the situation. Okay, so, Muktzah machmas iser, dechoy biyadai. Why am I saying dechoy biyadai? Yeah.
Something that's very valuable. It's someone that no one is going to move because of its value, but it's not possible. I've never seen something that a person would say it's not allowed.
I believe there are places that say it's not allowed, but that's a chiddush. Honestly, it's a chiddush.
It's something that's outside.
The pashtus understanding of a Muktzah is that it's one step up from the Klisha Machles, because it's us. And it's valuable, so you don't use it for anything else, so there's no use for that child. It's a permissible use item, so you're not going to use it for anything else, but you use it for its use, which is permissible. I'm saying diamond. One has a diamond ring. Sure. He's very careful about it. You know what I'm saying?
No, the here was you don't move because of its backgrounds and you don't want to break it.
Like a painting or something.
I was thinking.
What does the Chayo B'yadayim mean? Again, I
I'll get to that one second. There is an opinion that says that anything that you never move is Muktzah. Just because it's Kriyas Macham, not the way the Rebbe says, only because of this. So according to that, then even if it's a raise, it's very expensive. You never move it. Could be.
Things you have for score.
Yeah. We don't pass on that as Muktzah. But Yehuda would say it is. We don't pass on that it is, unless it's something that you would never use for yourself. A kind of scholar that you put aside for scholar, but you might decide to use. That's not.
I saw that one.
Have you heard?
No.
No.
If I saw, I get a secret. These are voted for score and Muktzah.
If you're not to use them, yes. Then yes.
Muktzah is not to use them.
Yeah.
Muktzah doesn't mean
No, if the general guideline is according to Yehuda, just because you set it aside makes it Muktzah. Even if it's the sort of thing that you could change your mind about, but you didn't change your mind until Shabbat started, so it stays Muktzah all Shabbat. Shimon says that once you set it aside, it's only Muktzah if that setting aside is such a strong setting aside that you don't usually change your mind. That sort of setting aside is significant. But stop setting aside is not. So that has various applications. But this is one of them. You know what I'm saying? The same thing would apply if you took fresh fruit, you put them up to dry, and they don't get ruined. They go from fresh to partially dry to dry. And at every step of the way you could eat them. Rabbi Yehuda would say that's Muktzah, because you put it up there, and this time you're not going to eat it until it turns dry. That's the whole point of putting it up there. Rabbi Yehuda, Shimon says, yeah, you put it up there, but you can change your mind. And even if you didn't change your mind before Shabbos, you change your mind on Shabbos, no problem. So the same with Schleyer, you decided to sell it. Okay, I decided, now I change my mind. But it's the sort of thing that you never change your mind, then you can't change your mind on Shabbos. So they're a Shimon reviews.
Well, to the time that he gave the little food and
I mean, for a person who sells Schleyer, because that he's likely to change his mind, or he could. Is that what you mean? Maybe that's what you mean. But it doesn't have to be per se. I mean, the example of the Shmir Shabbos is gloves. A guy sells gloves. Okay. If he's cold, he'll use a pair of gloves. You know what I'm saying? if he sells diamond rings, if he sells, gold watches, so now he's not going to use that for himself. But if he sells simple items,
So from that, there's when you want to start. But using this, also.
could be. I hear. Because you don't want to ruin it, in other words. You don't want to ruin it. I hear.
You possible what I'm saying? Or because
If you decide,
definition must means you're not.
yeah.
What is broken off Muktzah?
Sorry? A weapon is Muktzah.
Yeah.
I hope you're covered. I'm not going to read about
Have people talk to them.
this time I ever had that.
What do you mean the weapon? Like if you don't have a heter, I mean, but if you have a heter, if it's a kind of nefashos,
You have to have a heter.
yeah.
Without a heter, you can't carry.
What would the Rav paskin in the situation
I'm not paskening.
on that?
I'm not paskening.
The other for
No. Baruch Hashem, I'm not in a position that I have to pasken. We're not learning Hilchos firearms, we're learning Hilchos Muktzah. It is Muktzah, yes. The answer is it is Muktzah. Do you want a heter because of your situation? Ask your Rav. Okay, the Choy B'Yadayim, Daniel, sorry. The Choy B'Yadayim means that you actively rejected it. According to Rab Shimon, which is how we paskin, something is only Muktzah I shouldn't say something's only Muktzah. There are types of Muktzah that are only Muktzah if you reject them, not if they're just naturally rejected. What do I mean? So the example is Muktzah Machlas Isser, right? Something that's forbidden, something that's Muktzah because it's forbidden. So if you made that item forbidden, so you actively rejected it, then it cannot become non-Muktzah on Shabbos. The example we gave is if you lit a lamp. So you made the oil in that lamp forbidden to use on Shabbos. Because as long as it's lit, taking out any oil out would extinguish it. So that is an isser that you made. So that doesn't change. And even if the lamp goes out, the oil remains also. Whereas an example of Muktzah Machlas Isser that is not your making is a animal that is obviously forbidden to Shabbos. Muktzah Machlas Isser. I mean, it's also Muktzah. Animals are essentially Muktzah. But as far as it being meat is concerned, it's Muktzah Machlas Isser. You can't shecht it. But you didn't make it Aser, it just was born that way. And we said that if the animal does get shechted on Shabbos, for example, a person was sick and they had to shecht it, it's not Muktzah. Now, of course, the person that was sick has to, that's goes without saying, his life is in danger. But even other people, as long as they don't cook it, they eat it raw and wash it, whatever you do raw, we said, that's not Muktzah for them. Because if it's a Muktzah Machlas Isser that was not the Choy B'Yadayim, that you did not reject, that could change.
Let's say still whatever around for yourself and someone else is not. It could be there's going to be messed up for you and not for someone else.
Give me an example. Sorry, give me an example. I mean, usually the Choy B'Yadayim involves an action that only an owner really has the right to do. Saying if you take Kurdish Simanim and you're putting it up on the roof, you're taking it and you're basically kind of ruining it from being a fresh fruit. You're only making it good as a dried fruit. I mean, if anybody does that besides the owner, he's like basically stealing. So I don't know. I don't think he would be able to accomplish that because he has no right to do. Is there any case somebody Muktzah for one and not the other? Anybody? I'll turn to the class. Nice way of delaying, a delay tactic.
What's the question?
Ah, Yossi's here. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Question, very good. The question is are there any items that are muktzah for some people and not others? Yosef is here as well.
Don't we say that if something is not muktzah for, I think we said that something could theoretically be, but then because it's permitted for other people, it's permitted for him as well?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm trying to remember the scenario, but I think that
Yeah, we did have something like that. We did have something like that, but here's what we said. I'm remembering now. If it's still alive, it's muktzah because it's muktzah. Well, what do you mean? Oh, you mean that? You mean?
Can you ask the question again, Rob?
Most places can hold that a pet is muktzah even if they are. Yeah. Most places can.
Can you ask the question again? Sorry.
There is an opinion. There's a das yachad that it's not muktzah. No, not right now. I don't think they have the concept of pets in the olden days.
a das yachid that what?
They're not pets. They're food. They're walking food. And dogs were protection animals. I mean, they had, the truth is they did have the concept of birds. I think birds had pets. But
Muktzah for some people, but not for others.
muktzah is not for others.
That's all, the walking company.
No, that's muktzah for everybody. But he's allowed to use it. He's allowed to use it because it's a concept. But if he's not using it for that,
I have a question.
One second. The mother's knife is muktzah even for him. He's allowed to use it for the meal. So the example that I think we had is,
Was that with a parcel that a guy has brought for a Jewish person? And was that the example we gave?
I think it's regarding Ben Hashemashos. If somebody has started Shabbos before, and then somebody else didn't start Shabbos, it could be muktzah for that one person, and not muktzah for the other at that moment.
yeah, but that's not a muktzah issue. That's a general issue. It's a Shabbos for some people, not for others. Talking about a muktzah issue. Sfarim and Ashkenazim have different halachas in some areas. That's true. But that's, again, that's not really a muktzah issue per se. But I think we said, if I remember correctly, that there are certain small pieces of material that, like rags, basically. Rich people throw them out. They don't bother with them. Poor people might use them because, everything is, you can use it, you can make a patch out of it. So basically, if it belongs to a rich person, we said it's muktzah for everybody because he rejected it and he's the owner. If it belongs to a poor person, so then we said because he's planning to keep it and use it, so it's not muktzah for him. It's not muktzah for his household members. If anybody happens to be staying in his house, it's not muktzah for them because they're included in his household, even if they're rich. He has a rich friend staying in his house, a relative, whatever. It's not muktzah for them as a member of his household. But for another rich person who happens to be passing by, muktzah. Okay, so in order for it to become non-muktzah, somebody has to pick it up from there, from the garbage before Shabbos, and say, no, I'm going to use this. Until then, it's rejected. It's a piece of garbage. All right, that's as far as I remember. If there's anything else, I'll take it. An axe for a wood chopper and not for another person who can use it for a nutcracker. No, not makabel. I've never seen anybody use an axe for a wood chopper, for a nutcracker. So, yeah. An axe is a cliche machleser, and whether you use it, even if you're allowed to use it for cracking nuts, which I wouldn't advise, even if you are, it's still muktzah. It's a kind of muktzah that you're allowed to move. Let's say that's all. Okay. We continue and we say, Was there a question that I missed? Somebody wanted to ask? No? Okay. So, once again, this is talking about things that you set aside bein hashmashas from use, and you actively rejected it. That is the example of the figs and grapes, famous example. And in that case, we pass like computer. I believe this is the one case that I know of pass computer. And we say that it is Muktzah, the whole Shabbos, doesn't change on Shabbos, even if it got ready on Shabbos, still Muktzah, and so on and so forth.
But the rejection message is because it's not from other reasons.
Like what?
You're afraid something will happen.
It has to be pushed in a way that makes it unusable. If you pushed it away but you did not make it unusable, then it's still, you can change your mind on Shabbos. For example, we said about this sort of thing itself. If you have fruits that you can push away, but they're still edible as long as they're dry, they never go bad. So that's not Muktzah. It has to be T'chayv Yadayim in a way that makes them no good. So, but again, we said this is only because it was the T'chayv Yadayim. That means you actively reject it. You actively reject it. The Chayv Yadayim we used in the case of Isra. You actively made it also. Now we're using it in the case of something that you made it unusable. Like putting these things to dry, you actively rejected them. Not by making them also, just by making them unusable. Is there the Chayv Yadayim also by non-food objects? I want to say that there is, but the chiddush of the Chayv Yadayim, in terms of Gregor Tzimmukim, is that even though you reject it and it's going to become better, nevertheless, if it doesn't become better before Shabbos, it stays rejected. Now, something that you reject and it's not going to become better, you know what I'm saying? Like you took something that maybe could have been used, maybe not, and you threw it out, right? Let's say even a poor guy. This rag, forget about it, throwing it out. Once he throws it out before Shabbos, Chayv Yadayim, it's Muktzah all Shabbos. Yeah, so this is an example of the Chayv Yadayim. By throwing it out, he's shown that he doesn't want to use it. So that is also the Chayv Yadayim. And that is effective if he does it before Shabbos. He can't change his mind on Shabbos. Whereas if he would have thrown it out on Shabbos, he would be allowed to change his mind. You know what I'm saying? If you take something that's maybe usable, maybe not, it's half broken, you know, but you decide you want to keep it. If you decide you want to throw it out, if you threw it out before Shabbos, you can't change your mind on Shabbos. If you threw it out on Shabbos, you can change your mind, because the whole concept of Chayv Yadayim goes together with the concept of Mitoch Shehuktzah Bein Hashmashas. When it was rejected, set aside when Shabbos comes in, it's rejected for the whole Shabbos. If it wasn't rejected when Shabbos came in, it was rejected later, you could change your mind and reject that rejection. I mean, just for Shabbos or for now? From now? No. But you didn't reject it. You're saying for Shabbos, you can play with it. After Shabbos, I'll use it for phone again. I'm just saying, so you're not rejecting it from being, it's a cliche, it's.
Yeah, but the same with the feeling the grape on the roof, you're just getting for Shabbos, after Shabbos, you can do whatever you want to do.
No.
Why not?
It has nothing to do with Shabbos. When you put the grape on the roof, it's because you're saying, I want this to be raisins. What about Shabbos? It so happens that because you want to be raisins, so when Shabbos comes in, you rejected it, it stays rejected the whole Shabbos. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying the concept of it is not that I rejected Shabbos. The concept is that I rejected it. And because when Shabbos came in, it was rejected. The halacha says now that it was rejected when Shabbos came in, it stays rejected all Shabbos. It's not about rejecting it for Shabbos. You know what I'm saying? The halacha says that you can't change on Shabbos. But I don't think it works to take away Muktzah status just for Shabbos. It doesn't work that way. If something is Muktzah because it's expensive or because it's not a keli, you can't say, oh, for Shabbos, it's going to be not expensive. It's going to be a keli. But and you know that after Shabbos it's going to be expensive again because that's not, you're not really taking it out of the category of expensive. You know what I'm saying?
But why? I'm taking the risk to be ready during Shabbos, and then I got from off the Shabbos. So why is it not there? You're taking the risk by you're not taking it, right? Maybe after Shabbos there's nothing.
Okay, I mean, you're taking a risk. That doesn't make it mutter. The serious nefesh doesn't make it mutter.
No, I'm just trying to see why.
I don't think so. I think to take something out of the category of a Muktzah Machmas case, I think it has to be a permanent thing. You have to say from now on, it's not a phone anymore. I don't think you can say just for Shabbos, it's not a phone. Because really, in the back of your mind, you want it to be a phone after Shabbos. So just for the purpose of Shabbos, I don't want it to be Muktzah. I'm going to say, okay, it's a toy. But
what we can learn is that to be dominant from this city, we can know that it will be dominant. After the dominant, so that they just may know what it becomes.
I don't have a proof of this, but I have a me'ain proof. Me'ain proof is as follows. When you take Gerges with Simanim and you put them on the roof, you reject them. Now, here, listen carefully. The halacha says that what if they come to a state where they're half ready? Some people eat them when they're half ready, some people don't. Now, usually we say, okay, some people do, some people don't. You decide what you want to be. You want to be from those that do, don't. Here it's different. Here, even if it came to that half state before Shabbos, but because you actively rejected it by putting it on the roof, so until you actively say, yes, I'm going to eat them, no, you decide. Until you decide before Shabbos, I'm going to eat them, so they stay with their status. In other words, you cannot take them out of their status because of a doubt. You can take them out of the status, but it has to be a sure. It has to be a sure removal from status. It can't be halfway. It can't be doubtful. It has to be a sure thing.
So if you,
once you reject it, that's the chazaka, like that's the presumption until you remove it from that presumption. So that's my understanding as well. When you make something into a Muktzah Machmas Sankis, that's like 100% rejection from using for other things. To take it out of that, you can't half take it out and say, sometimes it's going to be Muktzah Machmas Sankis, sometimes not. It has to be 100%. It's not a proof, it's not exactly the same. That's my main proof. Yes, sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
yeah, so I know we talked before about Tanai, and I didn't remember about in this case. So if you know that they're going to become ready on Shabbos, can you make a Tanai saying, well, once they change it, I can...
No.
No? Because they are Muktzah on Ben Ishmashos, they're Muktzah. That's it. That's the end of it.
Exactly. What we said is that because Gerges and Simukim are generally not predictable, so therefore when you set them aside, they're set aside for the whole Shabbos. Something that you could, in theory, know for sure when the time is going to be up, That we said could become non-Muktzah on Shabbos. Remember we said that?
Yeah, well, when a candle would go out on Bein Hashmashos, I think, or well, no, if you made a condition, you know the candle on Shabbos, then
If what?
didn't we say that in the case when you know the candle is going to go out on Shabbos, so therefore you could move the ner if you made it Tanai. I mean, I know the Ramah didn't like that, I think, or we don't paskin that way in Ashkenaz, but I think the Sephardim, we said could once they go out if they made a condition.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's true.
No,
If a item is a basis, when Shabbos came in, and you decided before Shabbos came in that on Shabbos I'm gonna get rid of the Muktzah item in a permissible way, tip it over, get it good to but and I'm gonna use the item underneath it. The Machaber holds that it's not a basis. When it's removed, when the item is removed.
then you have to have that snap.
Yeah,
And I will be removing this. That's not going to be process.
exactly.
Even though it's a still
Needless to say, only applies according to that if you either intended for it to stay the whole Shabbos or you have no intention. No intention is like the whole Shabbos. But if you specifically thought that it's not as concerned the whole Shabbos, then it's not.
So this only has to do with the basis. It doesn't have to do with the ner.
I don't think so. But 1 second. Muktzah ben Hashmashos carries over to the whole Shabbos, but according to the Machaber, if you specifically thought it's not going to, then it doesn't. Usually it does. Min hastam it does. But if you decided that it's for you, it's not because you're going to remove it. That's not, you can't just decide it's not going to be Muktzah. I decide it's not going to be Muktzah. It doesn't work. It's Muktzah. You can decide it's not going to be Muktzah because I'm going to remove it. Listen away. Knock it over. You know what I'm saying? Got to go to remove it. So therefore, you can say it's not set aside. No, we said you don't have. You don't have. Daniel, sorry, go ahead.
Let's see, what was my question? So when we said that you made a Tanai about being able to move, in other words, you can't move the ner itself. You could only move the basis, which is on where the ner is sitting. Is that what we said?
When you say the ner itself, you need a lit candle?
No. The candle, I thought that case was talking about where the candle had gone out.
And you want to move the candle, the lamp itself, you want to move the table.
Or well, what is it? How is the halakha in each case? I mean, can you make a tanai on the candle, or can you only make a tanai on the table, or can you do both? It doesn't matter.
So I have a problem with saying you can make it on the candle itself, or the lamp itself, because the whole thing is we said that you're going to have in mind that you're going to tip it out, or you're going to get a goy to remove it. That's not shaykh by a lamp. You can't tip out the oil. You can't get a goy to remove the oil either. So the only thing is that it could burn out. But that's not something you have any control of. That's something that just happens naturally. You know what I'm saying? You can't change that. I think it's only when you are planning to change the situation. So you're saying, I'm not nullifying it. I'm not nullifying the buses to the thing that's on it because I'm going to remove it. I'm going to have it removed. So that counters it. But just saying it's going to run out. It's not going to be there anymore. It's not going to be a buses. You didn't do anything. You're not doing anything to change that. I don't think it applies in that case. You know?
So we're saying that if once the candle goes out, if I made it tonight that I'm going to be able to move it, I can move the bosses, but I can't nair.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
have
we're saying.
to. Yeah, you have to remove the nair in a permissible way. Remove the
Oh.
nair in a permissible way by tipping it over, having the guy remove it,
Oh, I
and
see.
then you can move it.
Oh, I see. If you made the condition ahead of Shabbos, that's. But the whole
Exactly.
problem is getting the nair off, and you really need the goy to remove the nair, which went out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But
the lamp, I don't think there's a way to make a lamp be not muktzah. I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. What if he? Yeah. I was just thinking of another crazy case, but suppose the candle is still lit, and the guy moved the candle, and you made a condition that once the candle is gone from the table, you could move the table. Would that work, or do you have to wait till the candle goes out?
No, according to the Mechaber, that works. No.
Huh?
According to the Mechaber, that works.
Oh, okay.
You have a dinner. You have a dinner on Friday night, and you only rented the hall for Friday night, and that's it. And you have to clear it out after. So you have to, you have Friday night Shabbos meal. You want Shabbos candles on the table. But how are you going to get rid of those tables after, to allow them to pack it up so you don't have to be charged for the next day? Very simple. Very simple. Have in mind that you're going to have the goyim remove those candles. And then the tables, once the candles are removed, are not a buses. And then you can remove the tables yourself. According to the Amor, you just have to get the goyim to do it. But according to the Mechaber, you have that option.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. We do that in our shul. So because we have the Friday night dinners there, but the goy cleans up. So I guess that's how we can move. That's how we can move the tables on Shabbos and for Kiddush.
Yeah, if he does everything, he does everything. But according to the Mechaber, the Jew could then come and move the table after he removes the lamp.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Is there a muktzah that a goy cannot move? That's a good question on the test. I'll give it a test on that one. I'll feed it then. I'm just kidding. Is there a muktzah that a goy cannot move?
He's not shaykh to Muktzah. The guy can do whatever he wants.
No, of course. I'm talking about, can you ask a goy? Is there a muktzah that you cannot ask a goy to move for you?
I thought we said we can't.
Generally, you can ask a goy to move. There's one case that you cannot.
It's not special.
Dead person? No. Why not? On the first day Yom Tov, they would bury with goyim. We're talking about not moving a dead body. Is that the issue? Why can't he move a dead body? Why not? Well, because he's not Jewish. The halacha says, on the first day of Yom Tov, we bury the dead through goyim. The goyim do the whole thing. The funny thing is that the Jewish burials were very makbid on it. You didn't let the goyim do it.
Yeah, how could that work? Because I mean, they wouldn't know Kavod Misa. They wouldn't know what to do.
The Jews are there to tell them what to do. But the idea of burying on the day is more important than the idea of a Jew doing it. Interesting thing. Sorry? I don't know how that worked.
Some say it was the second. Shem wouldn't have let.
Or maybe he passed away on the first day and was buried on the second day. I didn't. Second day, why not?
No, I say on the first day.
Depends how late in the day. That's as long as it's not shy.
I don't know.
Yep. Okay. Back to the original question. No.
Very, very harsh. One of the harshest things.
Okay, my friend. So here's what it is. It's lumdish. It's lumdish. The goy cannot move muktzah to protect the muktzah from harm.
Meaning the hammer itself.
How was it?
In any case.
Any case.
Yeah. The question.
Why? Why? Here's what gets lumdish. The goy cannot move muktzah mechamalatzel. Mechamalatzel to protect it from getting ruined by the son of Ahid. So here's what it is. There is machlekes. What's the whole basis for a goy being allowed to move muktzah? Or I should say different. For the fact that you're allowed to ask a goy to move muktzah. What's the basis for that? You can ask a goy to do a shvuos regularly. I mean, unless it's a shvuos to shvuos, makam mitzvah, something. It's time to do a shvuos for you. What's up?
It's an absence. Avoid a loss.
Well, who said there's a loss?
There's a laptop. Anything. I don't know. I was going to say Makam Mitzvah, but not everything has to be mitzvah.
No, I don't think that's. The answer is because Rabbeinu Tam says, famous Rabbeinu Tam, that you could always ask a goy to do something that there's a permissible way to do it, and he'll choose how he does it. So you're allowed to move muktzah kala'achayah. So the goy, you'll ask him to move muktzah. You don't mind if he moves it with his pinky, with his nose, with his toes. Okay, he decides to use his hands. You could. Can't be bothered. Because you can't be bothered. What's the difference? One second. What about washing the dishes? Why are you asking him to wash the dishes? Not water. I mean, you're not asking about water, but water. Why you could wash it yourself with cold water? Go ahead, do it. You could, but you don't feel like it.
No, washing your dishes in themselves not us.
Exactly. So moving muktzah, yeah, in themselves not us. I'm just saying,
So it's a muktzah that you can move.
Why not? So what? Why not? It says clearly.
It's not an event was late for a step of further or something like that in the door. It's Shabbos Monday. You don't have to move that.
I mean, it says clearly that there's a difference between a lamp and a candle. A lamp you cannot move because it shakes. Or paraffin, anything, any liquid. When it shakes up and down, back and forth, it makes the flame get bigger and smaller, and it's considered machav. It says back candle, it doesn't apply. A wax candle doesn't apply. I'll give you an example. Yeah. You have a table. You have Shabbos candles on the table. You have challah on the table. You want to move the table from one side of the room to the other. Allowed or not allowed? With the lit candle on it. Allowed or not allowed?
Not allowed.
What? What's it going to get turned on?
The question was
Not allowed.
What?
No, I'm stepping back from Kalahaya. No.
The flame.
I'm thinking of the concept of moving candles, lit candles. Ronnie's saying you can't move it. I'm saying, I'll give you an example. You're allowed to move it. You have a lit candle on a table, which is not a buses, because it has other things on it, challah, whatever, for Shabbos.
The candle just stuck to the I'll do it. I'll pick on it.
Shabbos candles on your thing, a beautiful lichter, candles.
You wouldn't the buses,
Not a bus, because I have challah there. And I want the table on the other side. I want it there.
you candles.
Candles? No. Why are you moving candles? Why are you moving the candles? I don't need the candles. You can't move it for the candles. I'm moving the
I know
table.
I moved the candles because it's been about the stairs.
No, nothing to do with that.
There's
You want-
candlesticks and candles on that.
You want to move the table to the other side of the room. There. That's all.
This is a Jew, you're saying, can do this. But isn't the candle itself? The flame is Muktzah Gamor,
Absolutely.
but I guess that's not the problem. So the problem with the oil lamp is kibui. Then it might go out, it might go up.
Now with the oil lamp is kibud. When you have Muktzah Gomer that is placed on top of an item, which is not a basis for it, right? It's not a basis because you have the challah there. Then it's called tiltul menatzad. Tiltul menatzad is mutter if it's not for the sake of the muktzah, unless you're able to tip the muktzah off. If you're able to tip the muktzah off, you're supposed to. But if you're not able to, you're still allowed to move the whole item for a purpose that's other than muktzah itself. You wouldn't be allowed to move the table because I need light in the other room, because that's for the muktzah. But here I'm moving the table because I want the table somewhere else. I can't tip the candles off it because that's going to make them go out. You know what I'm saying? That's not an option. So I move the whole table. Anyway, how did I come to this? I was just saying that on the side. The point is, Ben Tam says you're allowed to move, you're allowed to have a going move muktzah for you because you're allowed to move kalachayah. So therefore, it's allowed because he couldn't move kalachayah. You didn't tell him specifically.
You have a way to move it.
Yeah. Oil lamp, I'm not sure.
If it's not on the table, it's
The point is, there's a way to move it. There's a way to move it. That's the point. So here's the thing. What's that? Let it go. Tell it where to move? Yeah. With the table? With the table, yeah. With the table, yeah. So, the Maisa, here's the Chiddush. When it comes to tiltul kalachayad, there's machlokes Rishonim. The Rosh holds that you're allowed to move anything outside the Ran. The Ran holds you're allowed to move Muktzah kalachayad even for the Muktzah itself. There's no limits. Kalachayad, you can move it to Tzarech Gufay, Tzarech Mekayimai, and the Tzarech Atzmai, even to protect the Muktzah itself. However, the Rosh disagrees. He says, Muktzah, kalachayad, you cannot move for the Muktzah itself. You can move it if you need to use it, if you need the place, but you cannot move it for the Muktzah itself. Ibn Tam agrees with the Rosh. So here's the punchline. The whole heter to ask a goy to move it is based on Ibn Tam. And Ibn Tam is only allowing it because you could do yourself kalachayad. Ibn Tam himself says you cannot move Muktzah kalachayad from the Muktzah itself. And therefore, you cannot ask a goy to move Muktzah kalachayad from the Muktzah itself. I'm saying. One second. In general, you're allowed to have a goy move Muktzah for you, no problem. But you're not allowed to have a goy move Muktzah for you if it's for the Muktzah. So which they couldn't move the lamp if it's to protect the lamp from being moved. Because there's no way you could move a kalachayad for the lamp itself, according to Ibn Tam himself. Therefore, you can't use his svar to allow a goy to use it. No, I'm not sure. It was not Muktzah. And tiltul menatzad, which is what that's called tiltul menatzad. When the Muktzah is being moved on the side together with the Muktzah, it's mutter not for the Muktzah itself, unless you're able to tip off it. That's the rule. Yeah.
We learned that if there's a Machlokas Rishon, there will not be the circle of the opinion. So, according to
No, that's not the point. The point is that everybody agrees here that the God can't do it. The Ran doesn't hold the Rabbinic Tam. The Rabbinic Tam doesn't hold the Ran. So you're left with nothing.
Rabbeinu Tam holds you're allowed to move, you're allowed to go in the Chalazel since they asked to go to the Chalazel because you
Rabbinic Tam. The Ran holds you're allowed to move the yourself, but he doesn't hold it as after asking God to do stuff for you. We don't find anywhere where the Ran holds it like that. It's a Chiddush. Everybody holds it. The Ran holds of Nechama L'Tzel forever. That's what he holds. But this Chiddush of asking a Goy to move without saying Nechama L'Tzel, just saying move it because he could move it Nechama L'Tzel, we don't find that the Ran holds it like that. That's a Chiddush of Rabbinic Tam.
You say that,
These are two Chiddushim, and they each don't hold of each other. So when they come together, when they converge, you're left with nothing. The Ran holds you can move Nechama L'Tzel, but he doesn't hold of this Chiddush of Rabbinic Tam, that you could tell it going to move it.
Who needs Rabbinic Tam?
That's a Chiddush of Rabbinic Tam.
Why do I do Rabbinic Tam? Why can't I ask a guy to do something like Machlokas
Rishon? You're not asking him to move it Nechama L'Tzel. Sorry, you're not asking him to move it Kalachayad. You're asking him to move it. Move it. That's not Kalachayad. Move it and move it.
According to the Ran, I can move it.
But if you're not asking him to move it Kalachayad. You're not asking him to move it Kalachayad. You're not asking him to move it Kalachayad. Must I repeat myself? You are not asking him. According to the Ran, you can't do it. Cannot. Rabbeinu Tam is the Baal HaChiddush of that Chiddush. The Ran would say, you want to ask the guy, ask her to use cold water, B'rakasha.
Oh, that entire Chiddush.
That entire Chiddush.
That we always use.
Exactly. That's Rabbeinu Tam.
The name to it.
I don't know what it's called. That's a Chiddush of Rabbeinu Tam. Other Rishonim don't quote it. Presumably they don't hold it. So that's the point. The Ran does not let you ask it in general unless you tell him to move it. Right?
Let's say can you
Yeah. If you specifically tell him to move it, then the Ran would say it's fine. Okay, that's something else. But to tell him stop to move it, you're left with nobody that allows. The Ran doesn't allow it because in general he doesn't hold this whole Chiddush of going to do stuff without. You know what I'm saying? No, he's not the one who's Machadish. We don't find that other Rishonim hold of it. We don't find that. And Rabbeinu Tam doesn't hold of the Nechama. So you're left with no heter, basically. That's the bottom line. Like other Muktzah. Yeah. Why not? No different than any other Muktzah. All right. Still stuck on page. Still stuck on page 1. I wasn't planning. No. I wasn't planning. I was planning on getting as far as we could and leaving the rest in your capable hands. Okay. Muktzah Gomer.
You know the last month
Who said not B'Shini?
you rejected it, so they need for the whole child.
Who said B'Shini you can't? B'Shini you can move it, why not? Like any other Muktzah. What's it different than any other Muktzah? Same as any other Muktzah. Okay. Muktzah Gomer, we're up to E. Muktzah Gomer is basically items, yeah?
Yeah, no, that's not because about the candle, we said that by lighting the candle, the flame, like you're rejecting it by putting the flame on. It's not good. It's just it will do the whole burn process.
So what are you saying? What are you saying?
By lighting the candle, it's like we give it the definition like the by a guy. I reject the candle by not using it by lighting the candle. So you can so it turned off.
It's a buses. It's a buses.
Okay, even so it's turned off afterwards, during Shabbos, it's still on the right move.
Yeah, but Kalachayad you could. Kalachayad you could. It's a little Kalachayad. Okay. Muktzah Gomer is basically sticks, stones, and anything else that has no getter of a cave. Included in this, Alter Rebbe says, is also food that is forbidden to eat. Also b'chalav or whatnot. Even if it's not also b'hana, it's still muktzah. Sand or muktzah Gomer. Raw food that is not edible is also muktzah Gomer. Okay, muktzah machmas mitzvah. For example, an Esther, once you used it the first day, set aside for muktzah, for mitzvah. Sukkah is the same thing. Lisha malach del Isser, which is perhaps the most common form of muktzah, like a pen, is actually a very low level muktzah, like we said. And you can move it if it is needed for its place or its use. It's only forbidden to move if it's going to be saved, if you want to protect the muktzahs. Okay, here's a list of permissible muktzahs, my friend. That Rav Yehuda holds up, we don't pass on like him, so it's actually permissible. Muktzah machmas mius is one of them, something that is disgusting, and therefore you would not use it for anything else, but you might use it to cover another keli. Muktzah machmas is you would put anything in it. You might use it to cover a keli. That's not muktzah. The Alter Rebbe did say that something that's so mius that you would not use it for anything, that is muktzah. Okay, merchandise, we already discussed it. Unless it's something that you would never use, like we discussed already. Isra was not actually rejected, we discussed that. Muktzah b'Shabbos began was not to reject, we discussed that. Okay, noiled. Let's stop a little bit and talk about noiled. The noiled that we said is mutter is a noiled which is not a complete noiled. Meaning to say you have a broken, something broke on Shabbos, on Yom. It before Shabbos Yom came in, it was a certain type of keli. Now it has a different use, but it still has a use. So it's not called noiled. But it's just changing one use, different use. It's always a keli. No, we don't hold a noiled in the keli. That's what I'm saying.
Like if I have Isaac Noah involved, all the Noah.
I said no to the balls of my focus for Shana. And b'di'efed we hold it's not considered no. So my focus for Shana, we hold the chatchila not to do it. But once it's done, it's not us and b'di'efed. We said in Shemchah. If it melts into the water, then you can use that smoke. It melts into the water, that's for sure melts. Even the chatchila.
An ice ball. And then the meal changes to water.
That's a machlokes. And there it's what pretty melted with the evidence. So the Mechaber holds even the chatchila. The Ramah holds the chatchila you shouldn't do it. It means you shouldn't take the ice out on the nasa that it should melt. It was already melted. We could use it. I don't think so. I don't think so. I believe the Alter also says it's not to look at the other. Something else, something. Those governing squeezing out liquids on Shabbos, 320. Anybody that can come from minimally? We have 8, but I'll test the color if you have somebody. Yeah. Who didn't down? You down already? You not? You down already? 1 or 2, you down? You down already? 3 or 4. See what the name says. Oh, that's right. He said he was down. He said he was down. We need one that didn't down yet, yeah? No, he didn't down. Okay. Ikar Kasar Shaina. יש לכתחילה נגד להחמר.
What's the side question?
Here it is in Siman Shem Yoches. Yeah? Simchav Zayin. Yeah? Unin halacha Chav Zayin. Shem Yoches Chav Zayin. Unin halacha nogu lahachman lechatchila ksor shayna, al b'yev yesh lahu ksor achayin. ואפילו לכתחילה יש לסמוך מהצורך הצורך האחרונה ככן. So it's only לכתחילה. It's not just about ice, it's about chicken, gravy, and different things. Guests. Okay. We continue and we say. Okay, so then we said there is something called Noiled Gomor. Chanan says he did not daven yet. Yeah. He's here? Yeah. Okay. 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 So there's a noted gomer, which we said is like milk that comes from the blood of the animal. Another example of noted gomer, by the way, I saw in Dirshu, equals to Tanzania, is water that forms from condensation. Water that forms from condensation, he says, is noted gomer. Water that comes down in rain, the Gemara says, is not noted because it's considered to already exist in the clouds. But water that comes from condensation is basically water vapor that is totally not visible. And it condenses.
Not liquid, yes.
Well, it starts out as gas. Starts out as gas.
Starts as gas.
Exactly. So the change from gas to liquid is a noted gomer.
So do Nolad Gomor.
Yeah. So we do hold another gomer. We don't hold another that's time, but we hold another gomer. Another interesting machloikas is about snow. Is snow considered noted gomer? Because once again, the rain per se is not. But when Shabbos came in, this wasn't snow. There's no snow in the clouds. The snow forms on the way down here. And maybe it's noted, maybe it's not, because water to snow is not such a big change. Particular machloikas. An example of permissible noted, which we pass as permissible on Shabbos, not on Yom Tov. We are strict on Yom Tov regarding noted. But an example of permissible noted on Shabbos is if something used to be food for people, and now it is only eligible for animals, like bones, peels, and the like. So, because it's changed its status from personal food to animal food, it's noted and it's also a part of the Yehuda, and that's how personally Yom Tov on Shabbos. Okay. What is the flow we're needing?
So you said it's usher, this last case about the food that became animal food. It's usher to move.
Only on Yom Tov, not Shabbos.
Oh, okay.
Let me just text the file.
Also, it says that basically every Muktzah must be correct? But you are not moving in a higher or very lot to do, correct?
Unless it's the tzorach Muktzah atzma, to protect the Muktzah from being moved.
Yeah, and just sit down, look at the bus. ואם נניח גם לדעתו, על דעת תשארו גם שם לשופן, בין צריך למקום החבוד לאחר, בין צריך לגופן, ליטול היין מן החבוד ולשכב על הכך, אסור אפילו על הרפתן ולמערה, לפי שכיוון שאסור לעשות לאיסור, מסר האיסור כמוהו ואסור לתרם, אפילו מהדרם. So, there's no way for the Jew to do it.
Rab, I'm sorry to interrupt. I can't hear.
Ronnie is asking if you're allowed to move something that's supposed to spill achayat. The answer is yes. Near is not achayat. This is near. Watching, this is near. Pick it up with my hands, regular. Tipping it off. That's called near. That's not true. Sometimes. Yeah. Kalachayat means if I lift it up, if I lift it up like that, that's kalachayat. Near is called tiltal manatzah. Whenever I move something by moving something else, and I'm moving that thing in a regular way, even though I'm moving something else while I move it, that's not called tiltal kalachayat. That's called tiltal manatzah. Moving one thing through moving something else, but I'm moving the original thing in the usual way, that's called tiltal manatzah. Two different things. Okay. The point is, Malach l'Isser and the Heter, we said, is also mutter. A thing that has a permissible use and a forbidden use is considered mutter. Heavy items. There is an opinion. So generally, heavy items are not moved because they're very heavy, are not muktzah. You just don't move them because they're heavy. That doesn't make them muktzah. But if they are heavy items and they have a set place, some say that they are muktzah. Just the fact they have a set place, similar to what Rafal was saying about expensive items, you don't move them. So there are opinions that that is muktzah. Yeah, there are opinions. There are opinions. Okay, broken items, thrown items, rejected by owner. We discussed this. I'm sorry. I'm on 8. Once muktzah is in your hands, you can keep it in your hands until further notice. However, some say that's only true about a klisha, not about a higher level. And lemaisa, if it is going to be a big financial loss, you can rely on the lenient opinion. So if you stuff your hand in your pocket and you take it out and it's a bill, it's on the size bill, $1, $2, $5, I don't know, you get rid of it. Muktzah gomer, you can't keep it in your hands. It's already $10, $20, hefsed. So then you could keep it in your hands till you find a place, safe place to put it down. I'm not talking about carrying it outside. It was in your house. So. Too complicated for me. Touching muktzah. Basically, you're allowed to touch muktzah unless it's going to move while you're touching it like an egg. Are you allowed to cover muktzah? So essentially, yes, but if it's going to move, then it's a machlokes. If this will pause. Okay, kalach for the muktzah itself, we said that. Asking to move, we discussed it. Moving it to protect people from harm, like glass shards, is allowed. Moving it with something non-muktzah on top of it. Okay, so here is a discussion that the Alter has in Shemchas. We know in Shin Yud Aleph, which we didn't learn, but it does discuss it at great length, you're allowed to move a dead body with a non-muktzah item on it. The Chachamim give it to be able to have people be comfortable with it. Their body smells, whatever color, mask, clean. They allowed you to move it by putting something non-muktzah on. Some say that the same will apply to other items, not necessarily dead body. You could put a non-muktzah item on a muktzah item and then mamish move the muktzah item itself. And the main halacha is not like that. However, in a situation of loss, you can do that. It's a nice habit to know about. You have a muktzah item that is getting ruined. The sun, the rain, or whatever. Situation of loss, you can rely on the opinion, put a non-muktzah item on top of it, and then move it together. Pick up the muktzah item with the non-muktzah item together, move it out of the way. I don't think so. I don't think so. You can use it to read from, not the rabbin. I'm saying you could, let's say you want to practice. Well, practice laying. Like the bar mitzvah boys, before their Shabbos, they usually take out a sitar and practice laying. I think you could use a puzzle safer for that. It's expensive, but it's a cliche malach in the head. You know what I'm saying? No Israel law. It would seem to me. I mean, we dance with the process on Simchas Torah. Simchas Torah is Yantiv. But we don't consider them muktzah. Okay. Various items. Tefillin. What's tefillin? Anybody? Exactly. Lit lamp. What is that? Yeah, let's say. Muktzah. Which level? Yeah, that's kibud. I'm saying, what's the muktzah level? Well, the flame is muktzah dama, but everything else is like a bus's flame. The oil, actually, we said is muktzah machmas to set it aside for use because it's forbidden. I don't remember. Confirm that you can get number 10. Buses of the flame. Yes, Joseph got it right. I don't know where it is. I hope we can get number 10. Okay. So let's just throw out some other things at you. Wicks. An unused wick. What level muktzah? Don't think too much. Just answer.
Kaylee Shalomakter Le'iser.
Alicia Lisa, thank you very much. Used wick? What was used? No, last week.
That would be Graf Shel Reed. Something.
No. If they're usually not used again, then it's muktzah gama. If they can be reused, then it's klishmat lesa. What if they were lit when Shabbos began and now they're out? Then it's a basis, correct. Candles, unused candles.
Kaylee Shalomakter Le'iser.
Listen, a detached door.
Um,
Off the hinges, yeah.
It happened on Shabbos?
It's a Muktzah Gomer?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean Muktzah Gomer, there's no use to it.
It depends. Well, I want to use it. I want to use it like a tabletop.
Not connected, it's not using its function, there's no function to it.
For my picnic, I want to use it as a tabletop for my picnic. So it depends. If it came off the house, then it's muktzah gomer because the house has no status of a keli. If it comes off a keli, like a chest, so then, and you're going to put it back there, you can put it back on Shabbos, but it's considered still a terrace kli. And then you're allowed to move it. No, then it's like the ground. It's 3 by 3 by 1. It's too big. Okay, buttons. Off the shirt. On the shirt, part of the shirt. It's machlokes acharonim. Some say because it's going to go back on the shirt, it's considered not muktzah because it's like part of the shirt. Similar to the doors. It's machlokes. Okay, needles. Needle. You should not listen. What are anybody, any Jew, just the body, bar mitzvah body. And yeah, I saw you on Shabbos, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't come up and
He came out and said Shabbos. Yeah. His friend also. Yeah. Okay, broken needle is not going to be, it's going to be muktzah gama. By the way, that's one. That's one. Yeah, by the way, he also, sorry? Some use, it has no use, just a piece of metal, it has no use. Splinter removal, we said by the way, is more if it's not for sure. Rags of the rich and the poor we discussed already. Fly sweater is a cliche. So yes. Fly sweater.
It's usually used to keep.
Yeah. Oh, you got it? Shvayach. Thing used to kill flies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because you got number 10, you're entitled to ask a side question. Go ahead.
Let's together some.
Hard question. It's a hard question. If he believes, but he doesn't keep all the mitzvahs, it's not so hard to get ahead there. But if your mamash says he doesn't believe, it's difficult.
What if he doesn't mean it? What if he doesn't know enough?
What is the thing is 100% trust?
I don't know. It's a hard one.
We always do.
I know, but somebody with a mushel, somebody once told me that he was like in a shul on the boardwalk in Santa Monica in LA, and he needed a minion. It was an atheist convention, and of course, who's at the atheist convention? The Jews. They're doing Muktzah, trying to promote atheism. So he schlepped one of them over for the minion. He made a minion with the official atheist. It's difficult. It's difficult.
Is it allowed something like that?
That's right.
What they do with sign on the pier?
And the pier over there?
No, they have a shul. They have a
On
shul.
the pier?
Not much on the pier.
On the
Not
water?
on the pier. Not on the pier. The boardwalk.
On the boardwalk.
Yeah,
And
sure.
Or the actual.
No, but it's
It's not about civic Jewish something.
what they do with
No, nothing.
But that was the PJC probably, Pacific Jewish Center.
For years. After 5 years, before that, I went to that place, it's still empty. So,
Baruch Hashem.
if there's no.
Jewish neshama.
Yeah,
I hear you.
no, our time,
I hear you. Okay.
Wait, what's that?
I told you it's hard. Difficult one.
That's not the guy you just invited to come, by the way.
No, it's something
It was just,
Theoretical.
I mean, the question was saying no reason.
use them and the language. I agree.
Indirectly, moving to the last question we saw on the day on the website. You're not allowed to invite a Jew to a Yom Tov meal doesn't keep Shabbos, even if he walks. Not about driving, it says even if he walks. Not supposed to be not supposed to invite a goy to it.
A guy, yes. A Jew who doesn't keep is not so
I'm surprised to see that. It says if it doesn't keep, even if nothing but driving, if he walks a meal, you're not supposed to invite him.
It's not simple. I hear it, but it's not simple.
That's part of that soul.
Okay, so in general,
I don't know, I feel that that's so clear cut, you know, yeah, but I'm not sure. That's true.
We're talking about people who probably not. Probably not comprehensive, but still does things. If you kiddish or they do, what's the thing? They wouldn't smoke it. They wouldn't do it. This is the rice in front of a big rug. They only do that.
There's such a thing. Well, there's such a thing. Okay, let's at least finish 14. Inedible shells. Inedible shells. If they're edible for animals, it's still good. On Yontif, it's no good. Moving with something else. Food that's edible for common animals. we go by the common animals, not by the uncommon animals. If it's uncommon but you own it, then you can go by that as well. Tough raw meat is not is muktzah. Soft raw meat is not muktzah according to the halacha because you might choose to eat it as such. Raw fish in those days was considered inedible and was muktzah. Maybe that's changed. Depends on the type of fish, if it's good for sushi or not. I don't know how it works. Balls, the Sephardim hold are muktzah, Ashkenazim hold are not. Balls, kadirin. And clocks and watches. There seems to be a difference between watches, which are not muktzah, and clocks, which are kept in one place, which the Mishnah verse says are muktzah. I don't know of any people that eat raw chicken.
No.
In theory, there are some people who eat raw meat. There is such a thing. Yeah, but you could defrost it.
Frozen chicken is frozen meat. Frozen chicken for sure, right?
Frozen meat, the pashtus, the Shulchan Aruch says is not because some people eat raw meat. Frozen meat you can defrost. Wrong. Why? There are some poskim who say, yeah, you have to be able to defrost it before Shabbos is out. So it's possible to use on Shabbos. Okay, we'll stop here. And tomorrow night we start a new sugya. Don't forget to finish the review sheet that I sent out since I worked so hard on it. Don't waste it. What I sent out, you just got it.
Oh, we're not going to do this.
No.
Oh, what do we go?
Chayla b'Shabbos.
Rabbi, the worksheet you're talking about is the worksheet that you sent out at 5 o'clock this afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Next, tomorrow night, Chayla b'Shabbos in Mitzvah.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Long needles, different. I remember something about that. Long needles? Joseph's still on. What's the difference about long needles? I don't know why long needles different. You mean like knitting needles? I'm not sure. I don't remember reading anything about long needles. So this is something in the Mishnah Berurah about long needles? I don't know.
He's here.
What do you mean?
He's the premises. That's him here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.